Imagine a world where one nation can shift global markets with a single decision. A country whose military presence spans oceans, whose currency influences every nation, whose culture reaches every corner of the earth. A nation so powerful that even its enemies can't ignore its influence. But this story didn't begin with wealth or dominance. It began with chaos, with revolution, with survival. Today, we uncover the rise of the United States, how a small collection of colonies transformed into the most powerful country on Earth. This is not just a story of wars and presidents. It's a story of ideas, ambition, innovation, and relentless pursuit of opportunity. This is the cinematic, untold story of America's rise to global power. Chapter 1. The Birth of a New Idea. In the late 1700s, the American colonies were not the global force we know today. They were small, unstable, and largely dependent on the British Empire. But the people living there held a powerful belief, a belief that would shape the world. That people could rule themselves, that power could belong to the citizens, that freedom wasn't a privilege, it was a right. The American Revolution was far more than a war for independence. It was a war for an idea. No kings, no emperors, just a republic built by the people. When America won independence in 1783, many European powers expected the experiment to fail. How could a young nation survive without the structure of a monarchy, without centuries of tradition, without wealth or armies? But America had something stronger, an idea powerful enough to unite millions. The idea of opportunity, the idea of self-determination, the idea that ordinary people could dream and turn that dream into reality. This belief attracted thinkers, dreamers, immigrants, and innovators from all over the world. It became the foundation of America's rise. Chapter 2. The Secret Weapon. Immigration. Throughout the 1800s, America opened its doors to millions. People fleeing poverty, war, famine, and persecution crossed the Atlantic with nothing but hope. They built railroads, founded cities, created businesses, and brought new culture, science, and philosophy. By 1900, over 30 million immigrants had entered the United States, the largest voluntary migration in human history. America became a melting pot of ambition. Each wave of immigrants brought unique skills. Germans brought engineering. Italians brought craftsmanship. Irish communities brought labor strength. Jewish immigrants brought scientific and academic innovation. Asians brought agriculture, trade, and manufacturing expertise. This wasn't just diversity. It was a global reservoir of talent concentrated in one nation. Immigration didn't weaken America. It powered it. It became one of the greatest engines of creativity and economic growth the world had ever seen. Chapter 3. Industrial Revolution. A Giant Awakens. By the late 1800s, the United States underwent a transformation unlike any other nation. The Industrial Revolution hit America with explosive force. Coal, steel, electricity, and railroads expanded at unprecedented speed. Within decades, America had the world's largest rail network, massive steel production, new inventions transforming daily life. Factories producing goods faster than any nation on Earth. This era created figures like Andrew Carnegie, who built the steel empire, John D. Rockefeller, who revolutionized oil, Henry Ford, who transformed transportation. American cities grew into economic powerhouses. New York, Chicago, Detroit, Pittsburgh. The U.S. economy wasn't just growing, it was accelerating faster than any power in history. Traditional European empires suddenly found themselves facing a new competitor.
a nation that was young, ambitious, and unstoppable. Chapter 4. World War I. America enters the global stage. For most of its early history, America stayed away from European conflicts. But in 1917, the U.S. entered World War I, and everything changed. The American military arrived late, but it came with enormous manpower, fresh resources, and industrial support. Its involvement helped end the war. For the first time, the world saw America not just as a distant republic, but as a global military power. After the war, Europe was devastated. Factories destroyed, governments bankrupt, millions of lives lost. But across the ocean, the United States emerged stronger, richer, and more influential. America became the world's largest creditor. Nations owed it billions. That economic leverage marked the beginning of America's global dominance. But the true transformation would come 2 decades later, in the most destructive conflict the world had ever seen. Chapter 5. World War II. The Rise to Unmatched Power. When World War II erupted in 1939, the world was torn apart. Germany, Italy, and Japan formed the Axis powers, threatening global stability. The United States remained neutral until the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. The U.S. response was immediate and overwhelming. Factories that once made cars now built tanks. Assembly lines that produced toys now created rifles and ammunition. Women entered the workforce in record numbers, symbolized by Rosie the Riveter. In just a few years, the United States became the world's largest weapons manufacturer, the strongest navy, a dominant air force, a leading research hub, a global symbol of industrial might. American production overwhelmed the Axis powers. It wasn't just soldiers who helped win the war. It was America's ability to produce more than any other nation. And when the war ended in 1945, the world stood in ruins, except for the United States. Europe, destroyed. Russia, devastated. Japan, shattered. China, broken. But the United States, its factories were intact, its economy was booming, its military was unmatched, and it held 2/3 of the world's gold reserves. The world had changed, and America emerged as a superpower. Chapter 6. Economic Dominance. The dollar becomes king. After World War II, global leaders met in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, to rebuild the world economy. There, one decision changed history. The U.S. dollar became the world's reserve currency. This meant nations used dollars for international trade. Oil was priced in dollars. Countries stored their wealth in U.S. bonds and banks. This decision gave America enormous financial power. With the dollar as the world's anchor, the U.S. could influence global markets, control economic systems, and fund its military and innovations at levels no other nation could match. American influence wasn't just political. It became economic, cultural, and technological. Chapter 7. The Cold War. Technology and Global Influence. The Cold War wasn't just a military standoff. It was a battle of ideologies, science, and technology between the United States and the Soviet Union. America invested billions into space exploration, nuclear technology, communication satellites, computer science, intelligence networks, military bases worldwide. The space race revealed America's scientific power. In 1969, the world watched as the United States achieved what seemed impossible: landing a human on the moon. This wasn't just a scientific victory. It was a global message. America leads the future. Chapter 8. Culture. America's soft power. Domination doesn't always come from weapons or wealth. Sometimes it comes from culture. After World War II, American culture spread across the world. Hollywood movies, jazz and rock music, fast food, fashion, television, technology, sports, internet companies. The world didn't just consume American products, it absorbed American identity. Young people in Asia, Africa, Europe, and the Middle East wore American clothes, watched American films, and dreamed the American dream. This cultural influence, known as soft power, made America not just a nation, but a global lifestyle. Chapter 9. Technology, the Digital Age. In the late 20th century, America pioneered the digital revolution. Companies founded in garages and dorm rooms would transform the entire planet. Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Netflix, Tesla, SpaceX. Silicon Valley became the center of global innovation. The Internet, invented and developed in the United States, reshaped communication, business, education, and entertainment. Suddenly, American technology was everywhere. Every country, every business, every individual became connected through systems built in the U.S. This gave America unprecedented global influence, not just politically or militarily, but digitally. Chapter 10. The Military, a Force Like No Other. The United States built the most advanced military in history. 800-plus military bases around the world's largest navy, the most powerful air force, advanced missile systems, global surveillance networks, nuclear submarines, stealth aircraft, cyber warfare capabilities. The U.S. military doesn't just defend America, it shapes global stability. No other nation has this combination of economic power, military reach, technological advancement, cultural influence, and global alliances. That is why the United States remains the most powerful nation on Earth. Final message. What made America powerful? America didn't rise to power by accident. Its strength comes from immigration and diversity, global talent concentrated in one nation, innovation, constant reinvention, economic influence, the dollar and international finance, military strength, unmatched global presence, cultural export, shaping global culture, technological leadership, from space to Silicon Valley. But above all, the real engine of American power was opportunity. The belief that anyone from anywhere could come to America and build a new life. That idea changed the world. If this documentary helped you understand America's rise to global power, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more historical deep dives like this. And tell us in the comments, which country should we cover next? Your engagement helps keep this channel alive and helps us create more powerful stories for you.